Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, and thank you for being here. Welcome to this session where we look at the whole matter of using chatbots in teaching and learning in education. And I know that not everybody is from a teaching and learning context, but whatever it is that we do today, you may find it useful to your particular context. My name is Michelle Stewart McCoy. I am the faculty developer, educational developer with responsibility for 21st century technology. So I want to say a warm welcome to you. Those of you who are from the Mona campus, Open campus, St. Augustine campus. I don't know if anybody is from Kville with us, but a warm welcome. And joining me as usual, I have Mr. Dominic Williams. I'll call him Dominic from this point on. Dominic is our administrative support. So some of you may have seen him before in the sessions with me. Dominic, I am going to do this every time. Please just open your mic and say hi for me.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Dominic, and I'll be here assisting with this session.
Thank you so much, Dominic. I usually use first names. Please call me by my first name. If you have any challenges with that, please let me know. All right, so you can put something in the chat and let me know if you have an issue, if it's okay for me to use the first name. All right. So today we're going to, as I said before, we're going to be looking at the whole matter of using chatbots in the classroom. And so for the next couple of minutes, we're going to be exploring really. So it's going to be very hands-on. So we're going to be exploring what chatbots are, how they work, we get a clear sense of what they can and cannot do. And so I am going to introduce you to Meta. So our chatbot that we're using is called Meta. And it's ironic because it's a chatbot about chatbots. So they're going to be placed in groups, into small groups, well, 4 groups. And then we're going to share a sheet with you that you will discuss. So there are some questions that you can ask, and you are invited to ask your own question. And then you will be looking at the kinds of responses, the interaction. And when we come back together after the 20 minutes, we'll discuss about what it is you found out, what exactly is this thing, how it could probably work in your context, what works well, what we need to be mindful of. And then for the second half of the session, we are going to quickly look at how we can create a simple, very simple chatbot that we could use using the EdCafe platform. All right, so right now I'm asking Mr. Williams, please create 4 breakout rooms for me, please. And share in the link the chatbot. So we're going to share the chatbot link, and we're also going to share what we call an exploration sheet. And when you meet in your group, you will decide who will report after you have explored. Okay, so decide who will enter a name, what name, or if you're going to enter a group name, that's up to you. And then you can decide which one of the questions you want to ask, or if you want to ask different questions, that's really fine. But you're going to explore, you're going to find out what exactly is this chatbot, how does it work, what ideas can it provide you with. Test it, ask different things. You don't have to ask what's on the sheet. We want to find out its limits, what it does well, what it doesn't do so well, and how we can use it a little bit more. How are we doing with the rooms, Dominic?
The rooms are set.
Okay, we currently have 20 persons here. That's what, 18 persons so far, which means that as persons join, you can look to see which room isn't equal. Are there any questions at this point about what it is you're going to do? So we're starting the session with exploration. So you're going to meet a chatbot that we created for this particular session, and you're going to explore it a little bit. Are there any questions? Are there any clarifications that you need, anything like that? Ooh, the silence is
Sorry, we
beautiful.
saw the link, but we're waiting on the exploration sheet to
On
be
the
shared.
exploration sheet. All right. Dominic, could you share the exploration sheet for me? I'll keep an eye on the waiting room while you do that. All right, so it's coming right up. And have a discussion as you go through in determining if you're adding different questions, what you're finding out, what your experiences are like, what the limits are, and so forth. I'm actually looking forward to your different experiences. Are you finding it, Dominic?
Miss Magoy, I don't think you sent it to me though.
Oh no. All right, let me see if I can find it. 1 minute. I'm so sorry about that. I thought I sent you everything, you know. You sure it wasn't in the readings that I sent?
I only got the link for today.
No, man, before that I sent you some readings on the same link. So I'm going to share the exploration sheet, but you can go back and double check your email and you'll see it. All right, so I just shared the exploration sheet. Let me know if you have accessed it. Can everybody access that? Not hearing anything? Okay, great. So now we're going to open the rooms so that you have your exploration sheet and you have the link to the chat bot. And what you're going to do is that you're going to test it. You can use the questions that are there, or you can create your own questions. All right. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about what exactly a chatbot is based on what you have seen, what the advantages and disadvantages may be, how it can be used in the teaching and learning context. All right. So sorry about that, Sharon. Yes, the internet is very shoddy since we came back. All right. So open the rooms, Dominic, and then pause the recording because we don't want to have 20 minutes of emptiness. All right, welcome back. I wanted to ask you, how was the experience for you? So we're going to talk a little bit about maybe 10 minutes for each group, about 3 minutes for each group. And so we're going to start with, we only had 4 groups. I had group 1, 2, 3, and 4. And so we're going to start with, I see somebody say exciting. We're going to start with group 1. What was the experience for you? What did you learn about chatbot? What did you learn about chatbot in education? So it's the same question I'll ask each group, but I'll give each group an opportunity to answer. So what did you learn? The good, the bad, and the downright ugly. Group 1, let's start with you. The room that had, let me tell you which group was room 1. The room that had Annika, Dion, Linda, Winston, Yolanda, that group. So let's start with you. Anybody from that group came back?
Good
Okay,
afternoon.
great.
Yeah.
Good afternoon.
So Mr. Winston volunteered me to be the presenter on behalf of Group 1. So it was interesting interacting with the bots. We found that it was similar to ChatGPT, you know, if you had ever used ChatGPT before. The responses, if you asked a general question, it gave you a general response, but the more specific you got, the more specific the responses were. It was tailored to what you were asking. I had entered my questions into Microsoft Edge, and Mr. Winston did his in Google Chrome. So the responses were a little different, you know, based on which AI I guess you were interacting with, if it was Copilot, if it was Gemini, it was a little different in terms of the responses, but basically it was the same. We discussed that we understand that these chatbots now learn. So the more you interact with it and the more you feed it information, is the wiser the chatbot would get. And that one has to be mindful what you put in there, because you never know where it might end up, because it might spit it out to somebody else somewhere across the world, and your information that that you thought was private may not be so private anymore. But it is a fun tool, I guess, if it's used properly. So the whole ethics behind using it, especially in education and in students' assignments. I had put it in to ask a library question because I'm on the library side of things, and it really gave me good ideas in terms of how I could assist my students in understanding certain concepts that we do in information sessions. So yeah, I think overall it's really interesting, and we are in some exciting times at the moment.
Thank you so much, Group 1. And thank you, main speaker. Group 2, very quickly.
Who's in the group?
Oh, in Group 2, we have Andrea, Annetta, Chevanese, Nadia, etc., etc.
Okay, this is Chevanese. So we pretty much felt the same sentiments as Dion's group in terms of it's very ChatGPT-like. We explore, what it was like on other AI tools. But we felt too that, and it did state this, we asked it different questions just to test if we could trust it. And so it came up with the correct answers, but it had the disclaimer, statement that what we asked could mean different things, especially one of the questions. But because it's an educational context, then they brought the one that suited us. So we questioned then what was the question we asked ourselves again? Anybody please support me.
The prompts to be specific, and if it relied on information before.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. So we, those questions came to our mind, and we wanted to also find out how would we integrate it in VLE and how
All
to
right.
create.
So it showed you how to do that?
No. That was a question that we had for the general, for you.
All right. So
But
we're
we found-
gonna show you how you can integrate it in a few.
Okay, so we found that it had usable ideas. The feedback was instantaneous. Summary was concise, and we questioned too if it stores in memory. As Dion was saying, when we feeding information, does it, or when we ask it something, does it remember and regurgitates based on that? Interaction is easy. And we asked about customizing it to our courses. But one member of the group pointed out that it's different. The expectation of a chat box her expectation was different because it was not really conversing with you as, with others. But we talked about that with you, I guess. And then it could be a distraction, we said, where students could get so engaged and loving it and just lose focus, What were we asking it again? That kind of stuff. So yes, that's our report.
Okay, great. All right, Group 3 and 4, very quickly. You don't have to repeat what was said before. I mean, you can just say that you concur with the comments and then anything additional. So Group 3 had Allison, Charlene, Jacqueline, John, etc. Not hearing anybody from Group 3? Group 4? Oh, yes.
Okay, so one of the things one of our group was interested in was finding out how the chatbot itself would respond to a question about hallucinations and giving incorrect information. And it admitted that it was going to do that. And gave a probability of, as I think it was 49%. but they also came up with some ideas about what to do to reduce that
Nice,
probability or
nice,
to
nice.
do about that.
And then I'll show us what we can do to ensure that there's no hallucination at all. All right. Thank you so much, group 3. And group 4? Group 4 would have had Cassandra, Dujon, Sharon, Javon. Anybody from group 4?
I can start. I really appreciate it. I tried asking specific questions about its use in teaching of reading, for example, and some of the activities. And I found it was interesting that it was able to provide me with some domain specific chatbots, and then some of the activities in which that it could drive learning, maybe from the point of the teacher, the actual teacher, not the teacher at the university, teacher in the classroom. Could be, so you have to ask the right question, because that initial question wasn't framed well. So it pointed me to activities that the teacher in the classroom who work with the actual students in the primary, secondary school. I had in mind a teacher at a teacher educator, trainee teacher being taught to become a teacher. So I found that interesting.
I suppose it depends on the kind of prompts and how you set it up. It could be used at any angle. All right. Thank you so much, groups. I'm going to quickly share my screen and show you something. When you use the EdCafe chatbot, you actually, as the teacher, have access to the back end. So you can see exactly what your students have put in. It gives you the extent of the, excuse me, the interaction. And so if I were to click on the group that had nursing, I can click to see, I get a summary, and then I see the engagement. So what is a bad way of using chatbot? What is the best way of using it for nursing lectures? So as the teacher, you can actually see, and you can engage with students in follow-up discussions from the back end. Now, let me show you how you can create something like this. Having tested the waters, you would sign up to EdCafe. So it requires you to sign up. And currently, if you're a new user, you can upgrade and there's a discount on the upgrade. But the free package is pretty decent, and it allows you to really explore. So we are using the free package here, but the paid package is pretty decent. All right. So when you sign up for the first time, you will get a window that's a little bit different from this. You'll get something that has right away, create new. And so this is where you can see what you have. And when you click on create new, you get something that looks like this. We're creating a chatbot for our students. So we want them to be able to engage with the material, and we can think of anything. So we can use it as a recap session. We can use it as an orientation session. There's so many different ways that you can use it. So when you put here what it is you want the students to do, and I'm just going to redo what it is that I had done. I would put that I want to explain chatbots in education. All right. Now, when I click create, the system uses AI to create something that fills in more detail. So I give it the basics and it will do the rest. So it carries you to this page, which it gives you the role. So you're an educational assistant specializing in explaining the role and applications of chatbot. And you can easily adjust this. So if you select something in there, so you have all of this, and you can easily change what you want. And you notice that it has these. So if you wanted to make something bold, just simply select it and highlight it. Okay, and that it will come across. So it gives you all of these. So it gives you your role and your objective. Then it gives you some guided steps. So these are the things that you'll do as you take the learners through. And then it tells you how you should interact with them. Now, if you're setting this up with your students and you don't want it to give them answers, you can easily add something that says, do not give direct answers. Encourage critical thinking. and ask more questions. And ask more questions to get them to flesh it out or something like that. So depending on what it is you're doing, you can easily say, don't just tell them the answer, let them work it out. Ask them other questions. And your greetings, you can change your greetings. Now you notice that the one that you interfaced with did not have examples. So it gives you examples, but you can easily remove them like that. Just simply delete it, because this canvas, if you will, is editable. And if you're satisfied with that, you can move on to the next step. Now you notice save, I usually click save each time. It asks me to name it. So this is the name of my chat box. Let's change that. And content visibility, I don't want everybody to see it. I only want my students to see it. So I change that to private and I click save. All right. So it tells me all of this and I can see that, but if I want to go in and work on the rest of it, I would go back and click edit. So you keep coming back to edit. Now we worked on the instructions, the capabilities. You'll notice that the students can upload files if they wanted to, if they have a file and they want to check it, and the students can record. I don't know how many you notice that you could actually record a message to the bot. These are in the paid version. So if you upgrade, you'll have access to these. Knowledge is where you provide the information. And somebody had asked a question about the reliability of the information. So you can add knowledge. So you can add a web page, PowerPoint, you can copy and paste text, you can add PDF. There are so many different things that you can add. So when you click on add knowledge, it allows you to add up to 10 different files. So if you have similar files, you can combine them in one so that you have more information. And you can upload up to 50 megabytes. So that's a pretty large file. So you can upload, and I'm just going to go to where I have. So this is where I have my files. And so let me just do this. So I can put these. Oh no, I don't need the exploration sheet. I need these two. So these are my PDFs. I can add I can add a YouTube video. So let me just go and get a YouTube video. Chatbot in education. And then let's go videos. I'm just going to pull anyone. All right. So it is going to pull information from. All right. So I'm just copying that. And then I'd click on add knowledge. And then this would be add a web page. So I paste it here. And then I click on save, and you notice it says YouTube. So you keep doing that until you have everything that you want. And here where it says knowledge limits, this is where you decide if it wanted to use the knowledge that you upload plus general knowledge on the internet, or if I only wanted to use the files that I uploaded. All right. So if you want to control what students see and what they have access to, you can easily do that here. And language simply allows you, because the students can hear if they want to listen, or if they want to read. By default, you get some free ones, and then of course, the paid version gives you more. All right. And then you click on save. Okay. And that's it. That's basically it. You have created your chatbot. If I go back to edit and I wanted not the generic information here, I can easily click on this and I can upload, or I can ask AI to create an image, but that's in the paid version. So I can click upload and I can find an image, something that is squared. Let's use her this time. And then the image will come right here, so that this is the face that the students would see. And then I click on save. All right. Now you can fool around with it and expand on it more, but this is what you see as the person who is creating it. And then you can test it out. So you get a chance to see what the students would see. All right. Now, when you test it like this, it is not saved. So you can put your name in and you can start the chat. See, this is exactly what it is. That is the image you put in, and then you can ask a question. Benefits of chatbots in teacher education. I'm going to put teacher education since somebody had mentioned it. All right. And it's taking a little while because it's going through only the files that I shared. And so it gives this, providing training resources, reducing workload and so forth. So you can, and of course, all you do is close this to go back to where you were. All right. And that is it. It is very easy to set it up, but you have to ensure that you know what it is you're going to use it for. If you're using it for orientation, you'd find orientation related material. If you're using it for revision, you'd use only the revision, only the material that relates to what you're revising. If you're using it generally, you would ensure that it's a little more general. So you decide whether or not you're going to be using material that you upload or material that you upload plus what is on the internet, or just material that's on the internet. To control it, I would use material that I upload. All right. Now, after I've done all of that and I want to share it with my students, I would go to assign. And when I go to assign, I have options. So I can copy the link. I can use a QR code for those who are more au fait with using QR codes, or I can embed it. Now, earlier we had copied the link and had shared that in the chat. So that was how you got it the first time, copied and pasted the link, which is what I just did. If you wanted to embed, you click on embed, and then I'm just going to go across to my VLE, and this is my Moodle course. I turn my editing on. I scroll down to where I want to set it up. So I want to set it up right here. I'm going to put it right under this one that I have set up. So I click on it, and then I'll put it in as a page because it means that I won't have all of this on the site. But if I wanted to use it so that it looks a little different, let me do this one. So it says text and media area, and then I click here and I make sure I look for the HTML code. So when I click on that, it gives me that, and I can paste mine and click update. Isn't this beautiful? All right. And then I do the rest of things, make sure that it shows on the page, that I don't have, the usual setups, and then I click on return to page. All right, now if I turn my editing off and I change this to student mode, let me just change it to what the students would see. This is what the student would see. Now, the student would see this if you set it up as a text and media, what used to be called a label. If you set it up as a page, the students would see this and then click on it and it would open this. Any questions? Did I lose anybody right there?
Could you just repeat that if it's a page or if it's text and media?
Okay, so if it's a page, it doesn't show the full information. It doesn't show the full content. It simply is whatever you call it. So I could call it ask me anything, and then I'd say click to engage with our chatbot. And then the students would click on that and open it, and then it appears here. If you set it up as a text and media page, it actually shows the content on the page and it takes up some of the space. So this is what the students would see. They'd see this and then they'd see the rest of the course. So you would have to decide what it is you're doing, if you're going to be setting it up as a page or as a text and media page. So that's the difference between the two. I would say go for the page and ensure that the instructions are clear enough so the students can know how to engage. All right.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Okay, and then
Hi,
of course.
can I ask something else?
Yes, please.
If you didn't put in any material of your own in the knowledge section, right?
Right.
Would it just go to the internet and give whatever
Yes.
answers?
Yes. So it
Oh,
would pull from different places on the internet that has this and provide. And sometimes that is useful. Okay. But because we want to, it's teaching and learning, and we want to control what students have access to, especially in undergraduate levels, I would say ensure that you upload the material. And as I said, it depends on what it is you're doing it for. But for teaching and learning purposes, for orientation purposes, you definitely want to ensure that you upload the information. And then when you're setting it up, you would say something like, if the information is not in what I have uploaded, tell the students that. Don't hallucinate. So you can put that when you're putting in your instructions. Let me go back here. When you're putting in your instructions about interaction, you could say, do not make up answers. If you don't know it, say you don't know it, or tell them to contact, and you put the admin office, the CETL office, so that they have that sort of information. So it would pull only from there.
Okay,
Any
thanks.
other?
Yes, I
No
have a
problem.
question.
Go ahead. I'm going to stop sharing a little bit, but go ahead.
Okay, my question is, you had mentioned something about private when you're talking
Right.
about changing with saving.
Yes.
What are the data security issues?
In terms of storing students' information?
No, personal. If you're using it for your own personal.
Well, so far I've been using it for a little while now. I have no issues, but I tend to say to persons who use it, there are certain pieces of personal information you don't want to put out there. So you don't want to put your bank number. You don't necessarily want to put your home address. I tend to create a particular account that I use for these, because as safe as things are, there are always questions. So it's pretty decent so far. It's set up particularly for educational purposes, and I have had no issues with it to date. We had a meeting with the creators some time ago, and they say that it's 100% foolproof, but nothing I know is 100% foolproof. But it's pretty decent as it relates to security and keeping information safe.
And also information that you need for research, for example, in terms of plagiarism. Is there anything there?
Well, if you allow the information to the knowledge limit to be just general, meaning it's going to pull from the internet, if students are using this, there is a likelihood that they are going to plagiarize. If you are setting it so that the students only rely on the information that you upload, you would have to ensure that you give them clear guidelines about how to use the information that they get. Does that answer your question? Hello?
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. McCoy.
All right, no problem.
Just one
Okay.
other thing, this EdCafe app or software, whatever it is, it's out for the general public, or is it something that the university has specifically?
No, it's out to the general public. You simply go to edcafe.ai. Well, let me show you what you can do. You can go to Google and type in EdCafe. And EdCafe actually has more than just chatbot. So there's things you can do. We're just focusing on the chatbot aspect of it. So you go to edcafe.ai, anybody can do that. And a number of universities have used their chatbots because they can set up orientation. They don't have to be answering the same question over and over to different students. It personalizes, so you realize that it asks for your name, and it makes it as conversational as possible, because that's what chatbots are. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thanks. Thanks.
And
All
one
right.
more thing, do the
Yes, go
students have
ahead.
to have an account?
No, well, you didn't have an account when you went in.
Oh,
The
true, true,
teacher
true.
has to have an account.
Okay, and then they share.
Yes.
Okay, yes, that's right.
All
Thank
right.
you.
No problem. Okay, so essentially, I know that we are actually a little over. So we found out that there is benefit to be had from using chatbots, all right? But they also have limitations. And as teachers, you have to decide how you will use the tool and how you will engage the students, whether or not you let them have access to the internet, the wide web, or if you will let them have access to the kinds of information that you upload to the system. okay? Depending on how you use it. So we wouldn't say use it for students to create assignments and so forth. I would say use it to help students to revise, to orientation, to practice language, you know, that sort of thing. So decide on how you are going to use it. And so remember that you have to have a plan with anything that you put forward, and the chatbot is just another tool. You also have to consider that and focus on what we do best. We engage, we explain. And so when you're setting it up from the teacher end, ensure that you do all of that as you go through. Remember what your learning outcomes are. It's about learning. It's not about the technology. It's about the teaching and learning. Identify why you need it, not just you're going to use it because, oh, it looks exciting and I really want to go with this. Pilot test it. So get a group of persons to test it and make sure that everything sounds right, works right. And then you set up your monitoring system. So the beautiful thing about the EdCafe chatbot, as you would have seen, I can see what the students input. I can see what they ask. I can see how many times they ask different things. And I would encourage them to use their ID numbers if you're concerned about that, or use a first name and surname initial so that you can have a clear idea of which students you may need to follow up with. Okay. Make sure that you give the students clear instructions before you use it. Don't just say, all right, the chatbot is set up, go use it. So let them know how it's, you know, the parameters of its use. Explain exactly what it can do and what it cannot do, what it is set up to do. And then, of course, you're going to see if there are any students who need any help by looking at the chats, looking at what they put in. You can probably help students to make the prompts stronger based on what it is they say. And collect feedback from them so that you can know how well you're doing, how well you're not doing. Now, of course, with every tool, there is something that there are aspects that you don't use the tool for. And so for AI as well, or AI chatbots, if you are thinking of using it to replace the kinds of interaction that you do with students, please don't. If a student is struggling emotionally, they don't need an AI chatbot. The student needs that kind of real person-to-person connection. So think about the empathy, think about, you know, that kind of emotional connections. So if any of these things here, you know, if it requires serious critical thinking, unless you set your prompts in such a way that the AI is going to pull that out, do not use AI. When the technology becomes a barrier where the student has to be fighting to find out how to reach here, how to get the information there, that is counterproductive. So if it becomes a barrier to the teaching and learning experience, do not use it at all. And finally, I always say, have fun with the experience. All right. Remember that the technology is just a tool, nothing more. It's not a solution. So if the class is a bad class, it's going to be a bad class with the technology, nothing more. It won't build relationships. It won't help students. Good teaching remains good teaching. Setting up your learning outcome, putting your activities together. Think about whether or not the tool is going to be useful. If it's going to be useful, use it. If the students can do very well without it, leave it alone. Okay. Try one thing, try the tool in one class, try it with a few students, try it with one prompt, and then you build on that. Okay. And then, of course, remember, reach out to your colleagues, reach out to the students, ask them questions, reach out to your technology unit, reach out to your technology champion to see how that person can also help you in putting together your chatbots. But chatbots are used more and more worldwide, not just in education. Education has been using it more and more recently, but chatbots are quite useful. The benefits are potential are quite powerful, but we have to be mindful of the potential disadvantages. Okay, so we just wanted to introduce you to this aspect of EdCafe. It's a whole suite. in EdCafe, and we'll be introducing you to more. But chatbots, I thought, would be something that was light, something that was easy enough for you to understand and to explore and to get a feel of what it is. And so we wanted you to see how it works from the student end and also from the teacher end. As much as is humanly possible, please embed it in your learning management system. You can still check to see how students are doing, but within the learning management system, you keep your students in that space rather than having it somewhere else where they get distracted by other things outside. So as much as possible, keep it within the learning management system. Any last question? I thank you so much for staying. It's almost 10 past, but any last questions or comments before we share some files with you and then we share our evaluation with you? Yes, Charlene, go ahead, please.
Hi, Michelle. I just got a comment from a friend. It has nothing to do with this forum you have this morning, but it's a connection of similar things. Because Guyana is just about to open some kind of a data center here. And because of our water supply and so on being very great. Now, one of the greatest threats to human society, human environment is the freshwater needs of these large data centers. And that cool the systems that we are using to produce these AI tools and so on. The fresh, clean waters that these systems use are no longer fit for human consumption after discharge. There are high levels of radiation emitted from these centers and into our youth who would be working there and into our environment. These centers are being built near large bodies of fresh water and in poor Black and Brown communities in the US and elsewhere. So you're going to have your smart students, but with no place to live healthy lives. Now, I am reading this to you, and I am one of the greatest advocates of AI. As a matter of fact, every tutorial session, my students are showing me how they're using the AI. So there's this, because I've taught them to do it. I prefer to teach them to do it than to leave them and be afraid of the cheating and police them and put some, call it, right? So I show them how to take their free writing, minutes of free writing, and use chat to sort out, do the left brain kind of organizing stuff that chat would do. And they're amazed. And so when I show them this, I don't think they want to cheat. I think they want to use AI to help them organize. I say to them, I think you're not afraid to write because you don't know what to say. I say you're afraid to write because you have too much to say.
It's so interesting that you said that, because this is such a brilliant point. And so with the introduction of the chatbot, I think you can also help them to better organize themselves. So if you have a chatbot like a study partner, if you will, or an organizer, if you will, your personal organizer, you can then say to them, tease these things out so that it helps you better. So this is something that you could explore. And if you do, I'd love to hear about it.
I'll try and keep things in order. I'll try to use the chatbot to help me organize. I'm very disorganized, but the thing about our environment and, what do we do? What's our ethical position? We have now entered the domain of the same people we're criticizing.
Yes, that is so true.
Wasting water. What do we do?
And yes, we have to keep reminding ourselves that we need to stay grounded in that, which, we have to maintain that balance. Yes, the tool is there to help us, but we need to ensure that we don't misuse what we have. And so there's that constant struggle. I myself have to remind myself, Michelle, this is why we have the tool. It's meant to help us, not for me to abuse it. So we have to keep reminding ourselves, reminding our students, reminding those who use us that there's a delicate balance that we have to maintain. And so we talk about the academic integrity, we talk about the ethics, and we need to keep talking about it and keep applying them every time we use a new tool, every time a new situation arises. Thank you so much for that, Shirley.
Thank you.
Mr.
Excuse me,
Will,
can I just add one point to this use of water? Because
wait,
I'm a
1 second
freshwater
before you
research.
add the point. Give me 1 second, please. Mr. Williams, could you post the resources for me, please? And the evaluation so that those who are leaving can have, well, everybody is still here. So they can have access to the resources and the evaluation. Go ahead with the point, please.
Yes, just I'm a freshwater biologist, and this is a problem a conundrum that I face as well, because these problems with water are extremely critical, and fresh water is not as common as people think it is. But one thing that I've seen from the research is that even things like when people interact and you say good morning, it is a computer program, and saying good morning and thank you and preliminary having misspellings add to the pressure on the servers. So even though it feels wrong to just end the question that you want, it's a more responsible way to do it. And if there are really things that you could just search the web for, you should search the web for
You
that
should,
information and leave it
exactly.
to the nitty-gritty stuff.
Very good
Until
point. Very good point. And we continue to learn about the limitations of these tools that we use, but we always have Google, we always have Bing as general search engines that we can use. And you are correct. We should be mindful how we use it, how frequently, the extent we use it, and so forth. That's a very good point. Thank you for adding that. All right. Anything else? My contact? I am in the Center for Excellence in Teaching and Learning. Email address, michelle.stewart.mccoy@ue. Dominic, can you write it in the chat for me, please? The CETL email address and
Dr.
mine.
Stewart, I think I know how to find you.
Oh, you know how to find me. All right.
But it's Carrie Ann who I don't know, I'd like to talk to.
Oh, I saw it popped up, so I thought it was Ben you were
Yeah,
asking
yeah,
for.
no,
All right.
you are not unknown to me.
Okay, okay.
Carrie Ann, I'd like to
Charlie,
hear.
just stay on, and I'll just stay on for a little bit, and I'll
All
send
right,
you a
thanks.
message with my email.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
All right, colleagues. Just before we send you off, since you're still here, any final comments or questions? I have one. I just want to remind us that we must remember, we must always put the learning at the front. So we look at the purpose of the tool that we're using, how it enhances the experience for our students. We start small, we seek help, we document processes. All right. So while you do so, it's just another tool. We're trying to expand your tool and get you a little more familiar and comfortable with AI. And so we have been focusing quite a bit on AI tools. And so we wanted to introduce you to this one, and we hope that you test it and you enjoy using it. So thank you again for coming. Thank you for staying way past the session's end time. And Dominic, as usual, thank you ever so much. Look at the readings we have shared, because you will find some brilliant ideas in some of them of how you can use the chatbot. And please do our evaluation. We want to hear from you. We want to hear what we're doing well. We want to hear what else you would love to see. We want to see where we can improve. So that's it from us. Have a good rest of the day,
Michelle?
ladies and gentlemen. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, go.
Yeah, when you share the recording, can you just share the documents with
Again, okay, not a problem.
Yes,
Not a problem.
please.
All right. So thanks again, colleagues. Enjoy the rest of the day. Enjoy the rest of the week. And we will see you next week for another session that we have.
Thank
Have
you.
a
Bye-bye.
good one.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dominic.
I said take care. Bye.
You too. Bye-bye.